Let's go. Turn up. Let's go.
is Evan Munro-Smith, and I'm a director here at Stupid Old Studios. We have a studio space here in Brunswick. We use it for sort of small scale, kind of like multicam TV style sort of productions, little live podcasts and panel shows, sort of bits and pieces like that. And when the pandemic hit in March or so, we decided to lean into that a bit more and do more live streaming, which is an area that we hadn't really done much of before. So we started off with a few Bird Dog Minis, and then we got, when the Flex was announced, we got a couple of those because they still do tally, they still do comms. It integrates really, really well with vMix. It just plug and play, it just works, which is really great. And then we have upstairs, I've turned my office into a makeshift control room. Run all that with a 10 gigabit fiber connection up to the control room office. So it's pretty much everything is running through the switch in the studio, which is pretty nice.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope you're doing well. I just want to check the audio levels here real quick. Hang on one second. All right. Microphone, I think, is a little far away, so we're going to adjust that. Hang on one second. You see my actual bird dog, the living bird dog, is here in the office here today, so that's pretty fun. Oh. Okay, cool. That sounds a lot clearer, so I'm going to go with that. All right. Let me know how it sounds on your end, but welcome. I am Bird Dog John. I am one of the support agents for Bird Dog from Australia. I live in the U.S., and our most recent hire was hired to also be a support agent. He is out of the UK, and so we've been working with him over the past couple of months, several weeks, getting him up to speed, and so that's been really good. And you might start seeing him, especially if you're in Europe, you're going to start seeing him respond to some tickets and that sort of thing. So look forward to having him on board and helping with the ticket workload that we have on a daily basis. So that's good stuff. What is this? How's it going, Sherman? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Now, okay, Amazon. So the other day I purchased a new kitchen faucet because the one that we had was in pretty rough shape, wouldn't move freely and whatever. So I purchased a kitchen faucet. Well, now, for the past week, Amazon has been all over me about, you might also like this kitchen faucet, and hey, we saw you bought a kitchen faucet, maybe you would want this one as well. It's like, how many kitchens do you think I have? Like maybe 2, but I really only have one, and it only has one faucet. So once you buy one, that's pretty much all you need for a while. So anyways, maybe it's like trying to get buyer's remorse going or something, so that I'm like, oh, I should have bought this one, and like uninstall the one that I put in and send it back. I don't know. Anyway, so thanks, Amazon. That's machine learning for you. Not quite understanding that when you buy one faucet for the kitchen, you probably don't need 6 more. So anyway, fun stuff. So hope you're doing well. There has been kind of a lot going on here in the past little while. The new year has been busy, to say the least. You may notice on there's a new beta for P200. It was posted in the beta group, so if you're in that group, you would have access to that. I can also provide it here if you'd like. The only real changes between 3380 and 3381 are that we added a factory reset button inside the web UI, and the refresh rate between the web UI and the OSD is a little bit quicker. So those things may not be a big deal for you, and if not, then you can just wait for the public release, which should be hopefully still sometime this week. So we're looking forward to that. officially being put back on the website, and that kind of being kind of the end result of 3 months of intense beta testing. But it needs to get up there, and that will be pretty much the complete list of the features for the P200 and P100 from what I understand. So hopefully that is the deal. Valid question. Okay. So, hope you're well. Whoa, there's a bunch of people just popped in here. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining me over here on Twitch. Most of you are there. A couple of people over on Facebook as well. Don't really have much of a YouTube following, but that's no big deal. But yeah, there's a handful of you here in the Twitch show. So thanks for hanging out. Let me know if you got any support questions or you want to go over anything or talk about anything. Pretty good about that. Today is my wife's birthday, and so I will be arranging things today for that celebration. But birthday during pandemic, it always looks a little bit differently. She's quite a quiet person, so she doesn't like big gatherings, whatever. But we have a couple things planned, so that'll be fun. So anyways, my wife's birthday is today, so I've got my brain kind of focused on that a little bit. We've had a flood of tickets come in, or reopen at least, overnight, and so we're working on some of those. Do realize that there is a fair bit of stuff going on over here at support that's not ticket related, and so response times are a fair bit slower these days. The big piece is that trying to organize some new hires, so we're trying to bring on some people so that we can catch up on the tickets. We're also trying to get an actual office space online, and so that's one of my priorities for Q1 of this year, is to get all that up and running and organized. Okay, I don't need to look at that. There are some processes in place, and we're trying to formulate some processes for, a lot of like hardening procedures and that sort of thing. So there's a fair bit of stuff going on with that. That is, again, not ticket related. It's more how we operate as a company on a support side. We're also formulating and kind of working with our distributors and a few other things about what sort of support is provided by BirdDog, because up until now it's kind of just been like we handle anything and everything and we try and just do it whatever we can. That's great for a small company, but it's not really a long-term thing. So we're going to have to produce something like a service level agreement or something like that that basically spells out what it is that we do and we do support and what we don't support. So that is coming, and that will provide some good guidelines for people who are asking questions about products. What questions get sent where. It'll all be outlined in there, so that folks who buy our products can know what sort of support comes included. And that's always been, I think, a selling point for BirdDog, is you don't have another purchased SLA agreement where in order to contact me you have to have an SLA number with BirdDog, which basically would be a paid subscription. It's one of our approaches to how we support our products, but in the same breath, we also are really competitive on our prices. And so this type of support that we do provide has to be specified, because it can't just be, open to anything, because we don't charge for our support. And if it's just open to anything, then it's basically endless amounts of questions and tickets, and people get frustrated because we don't get back to them right away or whatever. So we need to kind of be a little bit more diligent and better stewards of what it is that we cover, what it is that we don't, what the expectation is with support, when people can expect to have resolutions and all that sort of stuff. So BirdDog Cloud question: I started a client's account yesterday, but my email was not active, so I didn't get the trial keys. Right after that, I made an order and I paid for keys with Broadfield, and they should be working that out with you today. Okay, well, that won't be with me. That will be with accounts over in Australia. So the trial, I can tell you what your trials are, because I have access to see that stuff on the back end. So let me do that for you real quick, Sherman. Any word on HDMI issues on Flex? You'll have to jog my memory. So I don't know if people like realize this, but I'm pretty much the only support agent right now working the help desk, and we cover a lot of stuff. And so I'm sorry if this is a continuation on of a conversation we have had, but like I probably look at or touch 100 different cases a day. So there's a lot going on, and so really sorry I don't remember specifically the issues that we were having with Flex. My Flex doesn't have any HDMI issues, so nothing is jogging my memory. But you know, let me know, and I'll just jog my memory, and I'll probably be able to remember what it is we talked about. Yeah, there's a lot of information. That's why we're hiring new people, getting guys up to speed. We do have another full-time guy over in the UK. He's really sharp, so he's getting caught up to speed and whatever, and he's already starting to answer tickets this early on in his employ, so I'm thrilled about that. And he's doing as much as he can, as much as I can teach him. He's trying to do as much as he possibly can. So that's more people are coming, more help is coming, but right now, in terms of tickets and that sort of thing, I'm still kind of managing most of them. So we're help me out with that one. Can you email me the Zelda Vision company keys? Well, mostly because I know you. And we just talked about this on Tuesday. Oh yeah, there they are. Oh, and Sherman, your name's on these. Yes, I will send you these. Do you want me to send it to the Zelda Vision email address you have in here, or do you want me to send it to you at your other one? Really, what I'm going to do is create a ticket. So, new ticket. Okay. Nuts. Hang on one second. Gotta copy all this information out of here. It's not like a super fast process. Come on. Please enter a valid email address. Well, I just did. Okay, let me know if you get this email. I'm gonna create it. If you don't get it in the next like 2 minutes, let me know, and I can resend it. No problem. I will also soon make a ticket for both RTC feeds and be adding them to the. Okay. Just use this same ticket that I just created you. Picture with no sound. Sound with no picture. Sound channels reversed. All will be corrected by unplugging and replugging the HDMI or by hitting the restart video in the web UI. Okay. Do you have a ticket number on this issue? On the Flex audio? Oh yeah, hey, don't forget there's a Discord channel that I'm not monitoring, but Beep Chirp is a guy that hangs out here, and he's the admin, so got the ticket notice, but not the keys. Okay. Not too sure why it didn't send the original body of the text, but let me go back to that. Licenses. Repeat. Okay. All right, check it out now. You should get it. You know what's funny is that people still send in tickets about the only an email thread. Should be in the title. Should be a number. Should say like 4,000 and something probably. Maybe 5,000 if it was this week, but every ticket that goes out sends back a response that says, "Thanks, your ticket number has been, or your ticket's been created. Here's your number," but it also puts it in the title of the response, so it should say it what the ticket number is. What is going on here? Huh? Sorry, folks. Alrighty, so we're still going here. It is 11:23. We've been on board for... Whoa, there's a whole bunch of you in here. It's weird. Why doesn't it show them on the actual count of how many people are there? Wow, there's a ton of you. Wesnet Designs. I finally figured out why Cam Control 2.0.4 with my P200 running 3380 beta works fine, and then other times it comes up with 0 and no changes. Uh-oh, okay. Well, what is it? I'm anxious to know. Cam Control works well unless I have plugged... Oh, a Scarhoy controller. Then adding a camera to Cam Control opens it with all the settings zeroed and no control. Already open cams loses control. That's interesting. Support was down when I first reported the issue. But you sent it to the help desk? Like it's help@bird-dog.tv? That's the email that you use to... Because if it hits that email at all, it will generate a ticket. So unless you sent it to like Eamon or something, that obviously won't generate a ticket number. So let me see. Support. That's not our email address. That might be like the behind the scenes one, but that's not help@bird-dog.tv. But let me see what I've got here. I think I know which ticket this is anyways. Oh, is this the one where you're using the CX350? Is that the ticket? Oh, you're using like a CX350. Okay. I actually, ironically, just ticket number is 3813. By the way. vMix, so you were saying vMix is crashing, there's no sound, and it takes several reboots and HDMI's plugging in and unplugging to kick the system into gear. This is so strange. I have... Like, I mean, granted, I only have a handful of bird dog cameras, really, so we know that those work. The one camera that I have that isn't a bird dog camera is a Canon M50, which is the one that I'm using here for the stream, which is my own personal camera. Which has a Flex backpack on it. So it has a Flex backpack on the Ninja. So let me see something here real quick. Hang on, Dexy. Sorry, my dog is right behind me. So, all right, give me a second, guys. Let me just try something here. I've got the HDMI out of the Canon M50 going into the backpack. Let's just see what that does. Trash on the floor. Studio monitor. Now, granted, this is only a 1080p output. Oh, geez. And the internal microphone is on. So, yeah, that's working just fine. It's crazy loud. So let's close the audio. Oh, and because it says plus 6 decibels. Okay, there we go. All right, so the internal microphone's working, apparently. And that pulls up just fine. That's 1080 5994. So there's no issue there. These, the CX350, you have on here that you are running. This is the one where you said Panasonic was not surprised at all about the HDMI oddities if the camera is left on for multiple days. They flat out recommended not leaving it on for multiple days. It's a little strange because I've never had my Flex crash, like crash studio monitor or anything like that. I've never seen it just fall off. Cam control works well unless you plug in a Scarhard PTZ Extreme. Then adding a cam control opens it up and zeroed out, no control already. Okay, yeah. Support was down. Yeah, it's almost as if, well, so the crash happens, right? Like, at least experience tells us that the crash happens when you, when a partial frame shows up in vMix or Studio Monitor. Basically, the system doesn't know what to do with that, and so it dumps the whole program. vMix got real cheeky in their last update, and they produced something that said something about malfunctioning encoder correction or something like that, like something real. which isn't really what's going on here. But we're not going to point fingers. We're just going to say it's kind of a cheeky thing to put in their software. From my understanding, that button is supposed to correct the problem. So if you are up to date on the latest version of vMix and that option is selected and it's still doing it, that would be a very interesting find, because it's not supposed to continue to do it. It's supposed to correct it and be done, and not have that issue. Yeah, what did they put in there? Silly thing. I want to. How do you know that's true? How do you know that they're all related? As a support person, if I hear about a problem over multiple platforms, I never assume that the symptoms are all related. But, well, yeah, they can be corrected. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all necessarily related. I mean, it's possible. For sure, it's possible. See, this is why it takes me so long to get through tickets, is because, like, the problems are not just, like, how do I update my firmware? That's not what we deal with. We deal with, like, all sorts of different things. People installing things, people having different cameras, people having different networks, all this stuff. And it takes so much time to get through, everyone's questions. So you said that here, you said, clearly there's something going on with the output of the CX350. And then you said, Panasonic said don't leave the camera on, that might be causing an issue. The question is, have you tested the HDMI output of the camera? So when these things fail, like, is there another way to test it to see if the signal going into the Flex is flipped, or if it's the signal out of the camera that's the problem, or it's the signal into the, like, it's the Flex port that's the problem, Because if you reboot the Flex and then everything is corrected, it seems to me that potentially it's almost like the EDID is getting confused about what it's connected to. The Flex doesn't. See, here's the confusing part about this. It's like the Flex doesn't, like, map out everything on the stream, right? It just takes in what it's given and generates NDI. There's no flipping of, like, audio. There's none of that. It's like, this is coming through this contact, and so it goes here, and this is coming through this contact, and we build the package and we send it out the port. There's no, like, arranging, or there's no, like, configuration necessarily that the actual encode codecs is doing inside the Flex. It's just like, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, and it's just sending it out, to put it literally. So if you reboot the device and then all of a sudden the information is corrected, that's really confusing, because there's really nothing on the back end that would be corrected by a reboot. It's almost as if, like, the EDID gets reset when you hit restart on the video on the Flex. It basically turns off, which would would be indicated to the camera that there's nothing plugged in on the other side. And then when it comes back on, it like reacquires the signal and everything's correct. So it still could be definitely that something's going on in the flex that's causing it to, I don't know, mess up this, like over time, screw up the signal or not connect correctly the first time. However, there's also a good chance that there's something going on with the camera's HDMI output where the audio is not showing up as expected on the flex out of the Panasonic output. Yeah, maybe try a laptop. That's a good idea. Is like, so, you know, you have to set the, like, or well, like the output of the vMix machine, for example. Like if you could somehow get, if you could output HDMI, even on a Bird Dog unit for that matter, but output HDMI on HDMI cable into the flex in, and then watch the generated signal and see if it's true for this as well, that on a laptop it's the same problem. Like going a totally different device, not even cameras, but totally different device. Obviously, you have to set it up to force it, you know, at whatever resolution you're going to force it at. But yeah, we have to determine whether or not it is the flex itself, or if it's somehow the signal on the network. Doesn't do any of that. The only thing weird, so the signal still is not generated correctly. Like again, these are all like flags. It's like, it seems to me that there's something with the signal. Again, I'm not saying it's not the flex. It could be, but also Magewell is, they encode very differently. What Magewell product do you have? I think you posted it here. I don't really have much information on the Magewell line, but Magewell doesn't say what unit you have. The regular Pro. Well, that's a useless product description. All right, here. Oh no, just not the 4K version. Pro convert here. Why don't they say full NDI or NDI HX? So frustrating. They just write NDI, all rights reserved. It's like, that could be anything. They don't explicitly say HX, so should I assume it's full NDI? I don't know. Oh, there, yeah, into full NDI. Okay. Um, have you seen that option in vMix? That thing that says, that cheeky little box that they put in there. It's on the settings. I don't have the latest version, so I don't know exactly what it says, but it's supposed to help with the things with the partial frame showing up and vMix not knowing what to do with it. What is going on? My spacebar is not working. It's pretty much a brand new keyboard. I'm gonna have to like slam on the spacebar for it to work. Well, I don't know of too many people talking about it being flipped or the audio not working or something like that. I can definitely hear my audio on my backpack over HDMI, no problem. Actually, it's annoyingly loud. And I don't have to do anything necessarily to... Let me just check and make sure it's still going. Alright. Oh, yeah. Jeez. It's so stinking loud. It's probably just a setting on the camera, but... Yeah, so I'm just trying to think through what it could be. You know, like the one thing we could do is you can send it to me. I actually have some flex units here. So if it is faulty, like if I put it on a camera and let it run for a day and see what errors, like if it drops sound or whatever, then I can confirm that it's actually an issue. And we can get you another one. Oh, I actually already offered this, right? It works fine 90% of the time, but when it doesn't, I usually can't get things that... I need to hot swap it. No way for us to live stream without both cameras. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, unfortunately, no. The policy is that we don't do advanced replacements because we have to verify that it's busted. It's basically money. But let me think about that. Let me talk to my guys. Yeah, let me talk to my guys about that. Because no, I'm not allowed to do advanced replacements, but we'll figure something out. What is going on here? Okay, cool. Okay. Um, Yoink, yoink. Oh, cool. Who? Who is this? Oh. Whew, man. Can't close the tickets fast enough. That's for sure. Close one, two more open. Questions and people wondering what's going on with stuff. Get a lot of that. Anyway. Alright, I gotta close down some programs here because my computer is clearly glitching. I don't know if it's glitching on the stream, but it looks like I'm dropping frames. That's never good. I know my upload speed, something has been up with my upload speeds here recently, but cool. All right, closing all these tabs. Should probably shut down Bird Dog Cloud for a few minutes because I don't want anybody connecting to that. Cloud. Calendar can be closed. Also because I have two more of them open somewhere else. Oh my word. Alright. Well, that looks a little better. Looks like it's not misbehaving now. So, let's just see here if I've missed something in this chat while working through the one case. Okay, so Wesnet Designs reports that cam control works unless you have a Skarhoy PTZ Extreme plugged in. Let's just look at that. Skarhoy PTZ Extreme. What is this? Oh, okay, it's just the big version. Coffee's gone cold. The ultimate robotic systems controller. Sunday. So, they do even have the PTZ trace for P200 on here. That's like a little video that they do. That's fun. So, if you disconnect the PTZ, you disconnect the Skarhoy, then everything works fine. But when you plug it in, it doesn't work right. Is that correct? Because that would be a very interesting find. We don't have Skarhoy controllers at Bird Dog, so we wouldn't know. Disconnect Skarhoy, and already open cams become responsive again. Oh, okay. So that's like a third-party find. Let me send that to the team. What version of the firmware are you on? Are you on 3380? Okay. What specific is it just a certain specific set of values change, like certain features, or is it just at random, like you can't see any rhyme or reason? All settings are zeroed, like you go in and everything's set to 0? or like just some things, or specific features, or can you be a little bit more specific so that I can, because that's what they're going to want to know, what features zero out. Okay, cool. That is an interesting find. I don't know how they're going to verify it, but that is a very interesting problem. Scarhoy uses a Visca with pre-built values for the P200 range. Update his profile. Okay, I don't know anything about that, so you guys will have to discuss Scarhoy between. You can do it here in the chat, but I have no idea anything about Scarhoy, so I don't have any of their controllers, no experience with their controllers, none of that. So this is the type of. So Wesnet Designs, we worked on this before, right? And we couldn't figure out what it was, why it was zeroing out, that it wasn't something that happened on my cameras at all. Well, it's like one of those things where it's like, well, there's a third-party product here that seems to be not communicating now with the system. Scarhoy is still running Alpha Core for P200s back on BirdDog firmware 3.1. Oh, yeah, so this may be a thing where we have to tell them we've changed the codecs. Although if they're controlling over VISC IP, not a whole lot has changed there. So what is the firmware update for Extreme? Like, are you running the latest? Oh, they have an updater. Burr. Because actually, now that you mention it, I think I have an email from Scarhoy. Yeah, let me look, because I'm pretty sure Scarhoy has something in here about integration questions. Nope. This one. Ah, come on. I just saw it like yesterday. This? Oh, is it? Yes! So there's an engineer that has a ticket in. right, update. Then. Yeah, so Skarhoy has a thing in here. They're saying they have an issue with the P200, so that this might be related. They may not have it updated because they can't get their camera updated. So it's very possible. Let's see what they say. Hopefully they have some time today, and I can sort that out with them and kind of get it covered off. Yeah, Sherman. For sure. If you'd hound them on your side too, that would probably be pretty good. Okay, so yeah, I do want to talk real briefly, and I think I can share a little bit here with you. Bird Dog is moving operations for support out of this room into an office, and I'm pretty sure that the lease is in the hands of my bosses, and they will be signing on that probably today. So let's jump over here and share my desktop and hopefully welcome you to the new Bird Dog support office. There's only 3 or 4 pictures here. They're kind of office pictures, so the only person truly excited about this, I think, is me. But here is what we're looking at for the Bird Dog office, and I guess I need to go back. Yeah. So this is like the main area, and this is like the kind of like an open form, whatever. And there are 5 offices inside that space. This is supposed to be a panoramic of those 3. That's that blue wall. Thinking I'm probably going to end up painting this black and putting a Bird Dog logo on there, but we shall see what I'm permitted to do. This is just that entryway looking at that wall, and there's like a little kitchenette over here. So it's just one of the offices. They're pretty big offices. 2 of these offices are going to be a little recording studio and a workbench and RMA area. So we'll be bringing in RMAs, working on things, repairing, assessing, all that stuff. There's also going to be a pretty big server rack in one of these that will house a bunch of our things that we need, like most of the switches and stuff that are on my server rack here at home. I have this rack because, well, I have a server chassis for my computer, but also there's a lot of switches and power and all that stuff that's here. So pretty important stuff. Okay, so this is just one of these offices. This is probably where I will reside in the future. It's that little kitchenette and the front door area. There's another office space that's more like open concept across the hall. We tried to get a deal where we get both spaces, but it just didn't work out, and some misinformation led to some confusion. So anyways, we got a little, what looks like a little wine fridge, really, but it's not. It's just a regular fridge. Sink. We'll put a coffee machine up here because, as many of you know, I survive on coffee. Oh, there's my stream, my Steam program. So I survive on coffee, so that will probably have to be there. Little sink, and that looks like it's not installed, but anyways, a fire extinguisher, whatever. So, yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. I don't think, yeah, this is just one more shot of that same space. But yeah, it's going to be where we're going to hang out, and I'm going to have a couple of guys working in support in Q1, so that's pretty exciting. We've already hired one guy here in the U.S., and we've hired somebody over in Europe who will not get to work in this office, but pretty excited about it, pretty happy that we're moving into kind of more of a legit space. Also means that work will be at work now and not in my home, so that's pretty exciting. So we're looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting up to speed, and obviously we'll be sharing more about this space as it flushes out and we're able to dress it up nicely to look like, something legit and something real. So this is just kind of a just kind of a quick, 6 pictures, 5 pictures of what we're looking at. So pretty excited about that. That's going to be fun stuff, and that's going to be my life for like the next 3-4 weeks. As soon as that lease is signed, I think we get in next week, and so that's the plan right now, at least, is to get in by next Friday. So next week I'll probably still be operating out of my home, and then the following week we'll be operating out of this office, getting internet hooked up, all that stuff. So by February 1, I will hopefully be working out of this office. Now, the office itself is about 20-25 minutes from my house, which means I now have a commute, which will be a blast. The one person that's really upset about it, the one being that's really upset about it, is my dog, because he gets to be out of his crate and all that stuff over time. So we're really, he's really bummed about that, but you would never know it because he's fast asleep on the ground right now. So anyways, Dexter's going to be a little bit disappointed that he no longer has people living in the house with him where he doesn't have to be kind of locked up all day, but he will survive. He's a good dog. Now, actually, the office is pet friendly, so I'm really tempted to take a crate in and let him be with me. He is aging, so that's one of the things that we're kind of dealing with, is he's getting older, and so it may not be a great idea to have him alone. So I may just take him to work with me. They're fairly friendly with dogs there, and they told me flat out, we love having dogs in the building, so we will probably have him with me. But yeah, so yeah, he's excited. You can't see it; he's just sleeping right now. Hey, come. So he'll be coming along. Come on. And I know the other guy that we just hired also has a dog, so he might be thrilled to know. Come. He might be thrilled to know that dogs are allowed. I don't know if he knows that yet, but we will see. Come. Come. Come say hello. Yeah, say hi. This is Dexy. He's a good boy. He's old, but he is my original bird dog. So long before I heard of Bird Dog Company, 10 years. He's 11. He'll be 11 in 4 days. So we're good. We're good buddies. He's practically the mascot now. Definitely take him. I just got here. What I miss? Yes. MTash, you missed the tour of the new office space that I'm like 98% sure is happening. We'll do that again here, but I guess we're supposed to be wrapping up soon anyway. So I'll show pictures again if that's something that you missed. Hey, what's going on, Qstream? Out in Denmark. It's so crazy to me that people are all over the world on this stream. It's so fun to have you guys on. So thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the new office. Looks nice with yeah, it is going to be nice to actually have a real studio space. So on that photo, on this general photo, just this is that big office that had that picture. I haven't really sorted it out. I think the two agents are going to be on the wall with the color. I'm going to have, eventually we're going to have an office manager who's going to run the RMA department here in the US, because we don't, in other parts of the world, in Europe, in the UK, and now I have to differentiate, thanks Brexit, in Europe, in the UK, in Australia, in Asia, in India, in the UAE? Yeah, anyways, in Dubai, we need to do RMAs through the distributors. So they check out products for us if they're busted or whatever. Well, here in the US, the reason why I'm hired, why a US agent is even hired, is because the distributors in the US don't do the RMA part of things. They don't do the repairs. So we need to qualify things for RMA, which means that I need to have a test bench. So here in my office, I actually do have a test bench. It's the bench that's right underneath all the Legos. But in the future, we're going to actually have an actual test bench. So this room, looking at the photo, this room right here is probably going to be our recording area. And these are going to be agent offices, and this is going to be the test bench RMA stuff. So when RMAs come in, they come to me, and I do an assessment here in my office, literally. And as you can see, I've done a few over the past 18 months that I've been employed. But I do the assessments here in my office, and I determine whether or not they're returnable and how we're actually going to do the return or the replacement or the B stock purchase or whatever we end up doing. So it's kind of on a client by client basis. Well, that's becoming an industry. Like that's becoming a part of Bird Dog USA. And so we need to, Bird Dog North America, I should really say. So we need to figure out a way of doing that where it's not loading up my office. So I have a whole bunch of stuff that needs to go back, which is under the RMA desk. And also most of these items are mostly empty boxes. It's really just for, you know, for show. But there are some products that are here. So there's several P200s that are up there. There's actually an A300 that's actually fully operational. We're not sending that back because otherwise I would never get an A300. I think it's so cool. So I have an A300 on the bench that will be set up probably permanently inside the Bird Dog office. But anyways, a lot of these products that have accumulated over time is just because we don't have an RMA department in the US, and the US is our biggest market, and so we do a ton of business in the US. And the guys over in Europe, for example, like Phil, was here or is here in the stream, he is our he's one of our pre-sales guys. He's the guy over in Europe that does that stuff, and he like the numbers of business that he does, obviously I can't disclose anything, but he is, let's just say he's not bored or he's not busy. So he is crazy busy all the time and doing unbelievable amounts of sales and deals with, you know, big companies and small installers and all sorts of things. And the fact that he's that busy and he's still not the biggest market is just kind of precedence as to, yeah, Phil, hey, there he is right there. Always busy. For sure. I mean, no doubt that Phil is busy. And he, the amount of work and sales that he has to do still doesn't outshine the level of sales that go on in the US just because of the nature of the business. And so if he's constantly busy, then you can't even imagine, and we have an RMA department there, you can't imagine the sort of product that come through my garage, basically. And they don't get shipped to my house. They get shipped to Lake Orion, which is a town kind of 15 minutes from here. They go to a UPS address, and then I drive over there twice a week and pick them up and drop them off and do shipping and all that. All of that is about to end, and the RMA department for Bird Dog North America is going to be in this office space that you see on the screen. So I'm thrilled. My wife is thrilled that our office room is going to return to office status and not like storage for broken products. But to put it all in perspective, we do so much business that the RMA and the repair process for our product line is well below 1% of what it is that we produce. And so if you think this looks like a lot, just realize that this is a fraction of 1% of the business that we do over the grand scheme of things. And so the products that are out there right now working and functioning and, you know, are just going day to day are, you know, astronomically more than what you see on your screen here. So this is actually a great little promo as to reliability of our products and that sort of stuff, is that we have thousands and thousands and thousands of our units out in the world, and you know, only a small, less than 1% fraction come back, and you know, where we need to replace them and whatever. So it's a very interesting world to live in. I didn't think I'd be running an RMA department alongside the support department. They work in tandem together, but they are definitely needing to be two separate things. And so, back to the picture. Oh, that was a really long explanation. I'm super sorry. So here, there will be a desk here in this area, which will be like front desk, not reception so much as we're not really having customers come into the office. This is a support office, right? So it's not really customer facing. We want to look nice, but it's not customer facing. But there will be a desk here in this little lobbyish area, and probably, I don't know. Well, we'll sort out what room we have. But this is also kind of a wider picture, like it's a pano to some extent, just so you can see the entirety of it. So there'll be a desk on this space. I should actually turn this, or I should move, because whatever, we'll figure it out. So we will have a desk in this space, and that person will be in charge of, there's Dexy. That person will be in charge of the RMA department and the USA branch of the support. So there's like a subset department inside support, which is RMA. And that person will be in charge, will work out of this office and will be in charge of, you know, our entire office infrastructure. So purchasing things and what are kind of like an office admin, but also the head of the RMA department for Bird Dog USA. So they will do all of the shipping, receiving, coordination, setup, and takedown. And the technicians that work here, and probably me at start, will be the guys actually doing the fixes and reporting what the problem is, but everything will go through that one person who is coordinating all the returns, RMAs, repairs, all that stuff. So Qstream, what are the most common problems that you see on Minis, P100, P200? To be honest with you, I think the number one issues for all of those products, and this includes Studio, is abuse. The products are not, they are not like, they're not built for just total, like, they're not throw boxes, or the cameras aren't really built to be like handled. They work well for like setup and takedowns of shows and that sort of thing, but they're not really in the department of like being abused. If you want to abuse a camera, you're in the market for an A300. That thing has, I know for a fact, has had a baseball bat taken to it, has had a space rocket stress test done on it. It has had a baseball thrown at it. Lots of things to show it's like we've had it abused and tested for that. It's had it's been tested next to airplanes, like, and I don't mean like 737s. I mean like like Hornets and stuff like that. Like, okay, so it's been abused and put into extreme circumstances to where like it's designed for that. The A200 is not quite as robust as this one is, but it has obviously weatherproofing. It has some shielding to the unit. It's not quite as encased as this one is, but it's a fair bit more rugged. Now, the lenses on the A300 and A200 are the same as the P200. So the lenses, the processing, the internals, they're all sort of similar. I can't confirm or deny the SpaceX liftoff test, but I'll leave it at that. So the same picture, you're going to get the same picture for the A200, or the A200, A300 that you get out of the P200. What you're really paying for with the difference is obviously the abuse ability. So regularly, and I'll say regularly, I get physically broken cameras sent to me because someone's dropped it, someone's hit it, someone's not transported it correctly. A lot of like physical damages, which quite frankly we're just not in the department of, like, we don't have a repairs department. The products are designed and assembled in China, and they're shipped all over the world with the Bird Dog sanction, basically, that it's a Bird Dog product. Our guys have gone over and made sure that the process is, you know, like, they're not just cheap products rolling off a line. They're, you know, specifically designed by Bird Dog with conjunction with Boland, and they're high quality products. The issue is that they're not really designed to be dropped. They're not like the P200, the P100. They need to live on a desk or on a tripod or secured to a bracket or away from regular things that, like, kids and that sort of thing. You know, like, people that understand it's a $3,000 camera, and it's not just something that you can, oh, well, it should be able to take, you know, I should be able to drop it and it won't break. It's like, no, it's a $3,000 lens. Like, it's a lens. It's like a camera lens, you know, like you wouldn't. Okay, so we have camera lenses. You pay several $100s for camera lenses. And if you drop it and shatter the glass, I can't go back to Canon, or in this case, Sigma, don't judge me, and say, like, oh, I should be able to drop it on the rocks and it should be able to bounce. It's like, no, you're buying a lens. Like, it's a lens. It doesn't take abuse. It's not designed to be bashed around. If you want to abuse your products, or if they need to live in an environment that can abuse them, then, you know, check out the A300, because that's kind of what it's designed for more abuse. So it's gone. Of course not. Yeah, so to answer your question in the longest way possible, Qstream, so sorry. Abuse is probably the number one thing, is that people are not gentle with their products, and very much so. I think it's just the kind of the way that it goes in terms of production environments. Like, it's not good or bad. You know, my concern, for example, with a product like the Flex with an HDMI in, is that might get used daily. You know, somebody might be taking an HDMI cable and, like, you know, cramming it in there every day. And there's something to be said about, there's really delicate pins inside of an HDMI cable, and there's a chipboard inside here that actually reads, like, their pin contacts, and that can get damaged pretty easily. And so, you know, the abuse of day-to-day type of thing concerns me a little bit, just with, like, HDMI in general. Not the Flex particularly, or not the Mini particularly. I actually don't have a lot of... I have like one or two Minis that have HDMI port issues out of the thousands that we've sold, like tens of thousands at this point. I only have a couple here that have ever exhibited those sorts of issues. But, you know, high-quality cables, people just kind of taking their time. I've had a couple of cameras come back that have been what appears, I don't know for sure, because of course people don't confess, but how much more fragile is the Flex compared to the Mini? Well, the Flex is made out of, like, a high-grade, I don't know if it's like polycarbonate or what it is, but basically it's more of it's a plastic case. That keeps the price down. But the Mini is also not, you know, indestructible, where you could drop it on, where you'd want to drop it on the ground. This is made out of metal, but the reason it's made out of metal is because it's a heat sink. So there's no internal fans, so you need to dissipate the heat. And the rule with heat dissipation is you want to obviously spread the heat out over as much surface area as possible, so that ambient air can take the heat away. These things generate all sorts of heat, and the studio even more so, but they are heat sinks. That's why they're metal cases, is because they are actually dissipating heat. With the Flex, we actually have internal fans that are running inside. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there are fan exhausts on these, and what that does is it sucks in air through a passive opening and pushes the air out. So it's dragging cool air over the actual NDI. I should look at the camera. Over the NDI chip, and sucking that hot air out of there and extracting the heat. So that's why we can get away with a case that is not metal. First of all, it also keeps the price down, because, believe it or not, adding fan components and not making it a metal heatsink is cheaper. And so, in terms of, like, cost, so it brings the price down. So you've noticed the Flex is only $400, where it's $399 right here in the US, whereas the Mini is $499. So $499. I'm not a sales guy. Phil would be able to tell us. So the Flex has obviously a decibel rating. It does not make noise. It's not like again, this is all kind of subjective, but it doesn't make noise like a whirring sound or anything like that, or like a fan sound. If I put my ear up to it, I can hear the fans running. If I mount it on the back of my Ninja, I don't notice a noise. As a matter of fact, there is a Backpack Ninja running right next to the Rode Studio mic that I have, or the Rode shotgun mic that I have, and I currently don't hear any fan noise. Now, that is an interesting question when it comes to... Let me just put on the Backpack. Yes, so Flex is $399, Mini is $495. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so Flex is cheaper. Now, the trade-off with Flex, I mean, it's a 4K unit, first of all, so you're not going to get that with Mini. But the alternate trade-off is that it's either encoder or a decoder You have to buy the unit specifically for that purpose. Where the Mini, you can set in one of either of those modes. Not at the same time, but you can have it as an encoder or a decoder, and you don't have to buy like a Mini out or a Mini in, whereas Flex is Flex in and it's an encoder only. To be honest with you, that design gives us leverage in terms of what we can make it do, and in particular the 4K function. Our new encode feature, and the fact that we don't have to reserve room to do a decode set of features, frees up in this modern chipboard, frees up a lot of room for us to do the 4K at the high latency or at the low latency, high bandwidth rate that we operate at. So it is a little cheaper. The Flex is a little bit cheaper. You have to decide on what you want your Flex to do. So I actually have a Flex in here, which I've labeled because I've got a couple of these laying around. And then I have a Flex out, a decoder. This thing is slick, man. Yeah, it's so cool. I love the Flex line. I think it is the next. Personally, I love it. I like it best out of all of our products. I think the Flex is my favorite right now, for several reasons. So let me just turn on the audio here for this. Okay, so oh gosh, I can't do that. The onboard audio is being encoded on the backpack unit that I have, and it's being sent to my headphones through a monitor. And you may be able to actually hear that happening because my headphones are usually pretty loud. But I'm not listening to the microphone, which is why I check the monitor for the show. But the ambient sound that I hear from my microphone, from the microphone mounted on the M50, is actually my Unify switches, is what I hear. So the Unify switches, they're Gen 1s, which are the ones that seem to work well with small NDI installations. We can talk about that later. Maybe like next week if you want. But the Unify switches make a high-pitched noise when they run. And if I shut them off, my room is pretty much quiet. Like my server has like, I don't know what it is, like 10 fans inside, but you can't hear them running. Because they're all specifically for that purpose of running quiet. I bought these switches and I plugged them in and turned them on, and when I turned them on, I was like, man, those are noisy. Like they're clearly designed to be in a headroom somewhere away from your recording stuff. So my shotgun microphone, my Rode microphone, doesn't necessarily pick it up unless I put it way far away, and then my voice sounds kind of echoey anyway. So I try to avoid that. But the microphone on the camera, if I don't talk, I can clearly hear the Unify switches. I cannot hear any sort of, sound from the backpack, which is literally mounted in the hot shoe on this camera. So it's pretty good. I mean, what can I say? It's pretty good. That's my subjective understanding. I hope this year, and bear with me because there's a lot going on, but I hope this year to actually be able to produce some tangible, from 5 feet away, from 3 feet away, the decibel rating of the backpack is this, and actually give you a readout. So I'm hoping to produce a lot more of those technical stats for you because people ask for that stuff. And right now we just don't have the time or the ability to make that happen. Okay, turn the audio off and now I can listen to this feed again. So if you have time and want to, could you at some time explain something about the NDI format? How to set up for more than a unit using the encode part for multicast? Okay, so you're wanting to talk about multicast implementation over your network for NDI. Is that correct? Yes. I will definitely go down that road one day. Here is what is on the roadmap right now for BirdDog support in terms of, just in terms of support in general, I guess. The plan is to actually produce some sort of configuration document that shows the BirdDog sanctioned way of doing NDI on your network. Now, We're going to be really careful, and we're going to add a lot of, this is just us saying this is how you could do it. It's not going to be because people are going to implement their networks all sorts of ways. The reason for this is, though, that a lot of people are looking at NDI for the first time, or they have some general AV, installation practice. Both of these things are painful to overcome because NDI kind of does its own thing. Because NDI was designed to be the best video over IP protocol ever. As close to SDI as you could possibly get it. And what's going to happen is I'm going to come out with a network configuration and say, look, if you want to do X amount of streams, I recommend setting it up with this switch and this configuration to get the best practical with these firmware versions, to get the best performance out of your network. That's what I'm going to end up having to do. Of course, I'm going to say this is great for 4 NDI encode streams into your Wirecast vMix or TriCaster setup. That's what's going to say on paper. And what's going to happen the next week is, hey, I looked at your configuration. What would you recommend for 6 NDI configurations? And I'm going to be back to square one because I'm going to have to do it again for 6, So there's going to be kind of a catch-22 where it's going to bite us. I know it's going to bite us in the rear end. The problem is that most churches, most schools, most theaters, they're only doing 3 or 4 streams. Like, I would bet 30 to 40% of our client base are not doing more than 5. And definitely not more than 10. Like, almost 100%, 30% of our population, 40% isn't doing more like that many. Now, they might fall in love with it, and they might plan for that in the future. But right now, today, that's not happening. And a great example is, I regularly help people over Zoom set up their church stream, which is a thing right now in pandemic, so that they can share their services with people at home who are at home because of quarantine or just because pandemic in general or whatever. And so we want to create a system that you can, as an installer, for example, you can do an install, you know how to configure it, or you may not know how to configure it, but you're going to watch the video I make, and I'm going to show you, click, 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 this is how you do it. It's going to be an 80-minute video, and it's going to be boring for the most part. It's not going to be very dynamic. Hi. Did you wake up? He's a good boy. So it's going to be a boring video, but by the time you're done watching the video and you followed through, it should work. Because it works in my office, and I can actually support that. And so, yeah, 2 to 4 cameras, that's usually the 1080p 60 5994 installation. So, one of the most common requests that I get, me personally, is from installers, is saying, hey, could you just tell us what to buy and what to do, and we'll buy it all day. Like, I just want the Bird Dog product to work as you say it will work. And I fully agree, to be honest with you. So what needs to happen is, I was talking to Tim, who's my guy over in London, and he shared with me a website from QSys that basically says, like, we approve this switch this way. And they even have their own switch that they mark up and sell and tell you how to configure. And it might even have like a QSys profile or something. But this is how you do it. This is what we sanction. If you buy this product, we're confident it will work. Well, that's pretty much what the NDI world needs to do. Not because we need to make a sale, but because we need to show people, No, it says on the box it will do this, and this is how I know it does this. So if it says it will do 1080i 50 on NDI full at 1 frame latency from the SDI image, this is how you get to that. And if you do it this way, we can guarantee that it's going to do that. Most installers just want to know, just sell me the system, because I want to use the NDI stuff, or the client is interested in NDI. I don't know anything about it, but I just want to buy a system that I know will work. I plug this in, configure it this way, and the client's up and running, and they can use vMix or they can use Wirecast or whatever. The other long route about that is to make a list of sanctioned switches and say, you know, here are the list of switches, and here's how you configure each of those to do that. That's like probably, I don't know, 3-4 years in the future, maybe. But what I do like is the idea, and I don't like that for a bunch of reasons, but what I do like is coming out with a configuration and a system that basically says, you know, this is how that's done. So this is how it's done. This is, you know, this is how we would recommend going about doing this. This setup is great for 3 to 4, you know, NDI signals or cameras or whatever you want to do. And if you follow these instructions, this is how it's done. Now, the other catch is going to be, well, I don't like that switch. So, you know, how do I do this on this switch instead? And at that point, I'm going to say, look, we don't have the resources or the time to configure, you know, to produce 6 or 7 configurations. We do it for one to show you. We know it works, and this is how it works. But, you know, so there's going to be some caveats with that. But anyway. Let me just look at, I'm well past the time here that I said that we would be streaming. So, hang on here though. Just hang on 1 second, sorry. Loan units for a while, keep safe. Whoa. Cool. So yeah, sorry, let me just hear. Blueprint best practices are always a great help. It sounds perfect. Yeah, so the other piece about it is hopefully it's scalable, right? Like I don't know right now, but if I say this switch should be able to have the processing power and the ability to handle 3 streams. And what I would love to say is, if you want more, buy another one of these switches and plug it in a spanning tree format and plug in 3 more sources. Like, this is a safe way to do this. And you can even talk about trunking, or you can talk about SFP, you know, aggregate ports or whatever. But going into the future is like, no, this is how you set this up properly. And if you veer from this path, we can't guarantee it. Because quite frankly, and you may be like, wait a minute, you can't guarantee it. Here's the thing. I can't guarantee anything right now. Any configuration. I basically can't say that it will definitely work. So what I'm talking about is getting from saying, I can't guarantee anything, to getting to, well, I can guarantee it this way. Which is better for, it's something better than me saying, look, I guarantee that the product works. I can't guarantee that your network will work. That's a big problem for installers. Basically because, what do you mean you can't guarantee that it'll work? You know? So, because networks are unique, and we need to standardize the process in order to take away the uniqueness. I don't want you going in and customizing things. I want to tell you how to do it so that I know it will work. If you deviate from that path, then I can't guarantee it. It's like, you know, that's how that works. But anyways. I have found that my own ways to get 10+ streams of multicast running on Unify. Oh. If you have a multicast Unify network, you are like a unicorn. Because I know that the multicast stuff, especially on Gen 2, is not working right. And that is true for NDI, and it's true for QSys, and it's true for several other networking protocols. So if you have Gen 2 switches, yeah, your configuration would definitely be an interest. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that people are interested at least in knowing more about how to do it correctly. Again, I don't think 10 gig aggregate switch with lots of other switches. Okay. Do you have the 10 gig fiber? Because that's what I have. It's my fiber core, but honestly, it's mostly to test the fiber modules on things. So yeah, okay, yeah, I have the same one. I like it. That one will be on the actual test rack when we move to the office. That one will be on the test rack. The 16-port PoE will be downstairs in the headroom because that will power most of the office, I think. And the WAN, like the USG Pro 4. I don't really have any use for it other than it needs to be where the internet comes in to provide internet to the network, right? So that this will be, I'll actually be running a network infrastructure of Unify to start, and then on the test rack there will be probably another Unify 16, probably the fiber switch, probably the Netgear M4250, which I own, which is here. Yep, and so that's an 8-port PoE Plus switch that has an NDI profile. It also has an ability to do an internal DHCP, which I really like. And I want to get another 16-port Unify and another M4250 to see when we talk about like daisy chaining or spanning tree. So that'll be the plan. I'd love to know some info on your network setup. Don't know how, but so and to follow up on the question too, QStream, the multicast option will be something that we explore then in the future once the original configuration comes out, because I want to make sure that's rock solid, and then I want to go into the multicast realm and doing like 10 plus devices, in a multicast environment. I had somebody tell me that they wanted to do digital signage with NDI. They were going to get 60 minis. And I said, well, you're going to have to do a multicast network for that. And they were like, multicast? Yeah, so, and there was somebody else that posted a Unify VLAN for NDI configuration online, and that's how I send that to people. I'm like, look, this might be a good starting point. I don't sanction it as the way to do it, but it's something in terms of a reference. So, it might be useful. This is just another user that's come up with this as a product, as a way that he does it successfully. But yeah, if you produce something, Sherman, that people will be interested, even if it's not something that, Bird Dog says this is how you should do it. It might be something that you post on the user group and people use as a reference. That's especially if you have success with it, because people don't have any idea what they're doing. Some people don't. Sweet. Okay, cool. Facebook. I really like the new P200 walkthrough post today on the Facebook user group. I haven't even gotten to the Facebook user group, really. Let's see it. Who posted it? I said I'd put something together for P21. Is it the dude that... Yeah. I just saw this. Newsworthy. Cool. I'll watch this. This is great. Somebody went to all the trouble to actually show this. He does a lot of OSD stuff, eh? At least he shows it. Anyway, we'll figure that out. 51 minutes of good rambling. Oh, it sounds like one of my Twitch shows. Made an assumption there, I guess. It may not be good, but it's 51 minutes of rambling for me. I'm glad that Newsworthy did this and they came out with it. Okay, it's 12:42. I should call you out about some things with the keyboard and the web UI. Oh, that's fine. People are allowed to have their opinions. Does he call me out specifically? Does he say Bird Dog John is full of crap and he doesn't know what he's talking about? Yes, John. Okay, good to know. I'll have to watch it then. Some things with the keyboard and the... Okay. Newsworthy's been in here, right? As far as I'm concerned, he's been on the show. I'll watch it. I'll see what he says. I'll follow up with him. Unusually, since getting these cameras back in November, I've spent more time working on how they work rather than getting them. As a result, I've got into some picture settings and come up with a set of settings that I think will work best if you're in a rush. For those in a rush, the first 5 minutes of video briefly goes over these settings. After that, it's about 45 minutes of my rambling about what I think of the settings, as well as discovering bugs. Here are some specs on the cameras. Yada yada yada. Bugs found: audio glitches in various places throughout the video. Recording was over an hour, unsure of the cause. Full camera dropout when trying to change the exposure compensation mode in iris priority. The NDI stream stopped. Keyboard lost control during this bug, rectified by overriding menu control through NDI Studio Monitor. Microphone used that works with P200. Oh, nice. It's nice that he puts that in there. All right, I'll check it out. And I will call it a day here because the tickets continue to roll and people are expecting me to respond or something like that. So I'll have to check that out. And also I need to finalize things for my wife's birthday, which is today. So she's at work and we're going to have dinner tonight, kind of celebrate a little bit with the kiddos. So looking forward to that. So lots to do. And I hope you guys are gearing up for the weekend. Hope you're staying safe out there. And please join me again on Tuesday as we start things up. Yeah, I love having you guys around, guys. Thanks for chatting with me today and making this interesting and having something to talk about. I always appreciate that and appreciate your input. Thanks on the new office. I appreciate that too. We're looking forward to it. Hopefully that happens today or tomorrow and I can get in next week and we'll have more on that. 1633, he calls you out. Okay. I will, I'll scrub to there and see what he says. And we'll kind of go from there. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great end of the week. And we'll see you next week on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Cheers.